Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Techie Code Buddy. I hope you all are doing extremely well. And now, as we all know, that many of the MNCs has started their interviews like Capgemini, Accenture, LTI, TCS, Cognizant, etc. So you have to prepare really hard and smartly. And in this video, we will be discussing about some common mistakes that usually fresher do, and you have to avoid it so that you can increase the chances of your selection. So if you are new to this channel or haven't subscribed this channel till now, then do consider subscribing this channel because this really motivates me to make more such content for you and for your placement preparation. Okay, so now let's get started with the video. So, almost in all the interviews, the very first and the most important question would be tell me something about yourself, right? Now, this question can be asked in several ways, like walk me through your resume and tell me about your academic background, or directly introduce yourself. Now, first understand the purpose of asking this question while HR is already familiar with your name, with your basic qualification skills, etc. So the point is not only this question but all the question asked in an interview has a certain purpose of asking it, and there are certain ways to answer it. In this video we will be discussing the same, so stay tuned with me till the very end because the video is really going to be very helpful for you. Also, I will provide you the sample answers in a PDF, but I will tell you the way to access it in the later part of the video. Otherwise, you will just skip the video and you will miss the really important messages. So what we are talking about, there are certain ways to answer these type of questions, and one wrong or inappropriate answer can lead to your rejection. Believe me, only one wrong and inappropriate answer can lead to your rejection. So make sure to watch this video very carefully and take a note of each point. Whatever you are thinking that yes, it is important, just take a note of it and try to implement in your practice. My strategy would be, first I will be talking about the mistakes that usually fresher do, and then I will be talking about the way how we can improve this and how we can avoid these mistakes, right? So for the very first question, that is tell me something about yourself, what usually freshers do is they simply start with their introduction like my name is XYZ and I belong to this place, my CGPA is this, my current qualification is this. And personally, I found this way is quite inappropriate because you only tell me that the information you have covered in your introduction isn't it not present in your resume, right? This is already present in your resume. So why are you wasting your time as well as the time of interview? Now I know that my sentence can hit hard on your heart, but the thing is I'm your guider and this is my responsibility to make you correct whenever you are wrong. So, as I have mentioned earlier, that there are certain ways to answer for a particular question. So, for the same, we have a particular framework to answer this question. So, tell me something about yourself can be answered in PPF framework. What is PPF? First P stands for present, second P stands for past, and third F stands for future. Now, in first, when we are talking about present, so we have to mention our name, we have to mention our qualification, our CGPA. If it is more than 8, then only you should mention it, otherwise, just leave it, right? And then what technologies you are currently learning. Now when we talk about our paths, so you should mention whatever experience if you have any internship experience and what projects you have done, right? Then in future, what are your career goals and how your career goals and the company vision align together, and you have to make sure that you are convincing the HR or the recruiter to hire you by telling some different properties in you, the different attributes in you, so that they can find yes, you are the worthy candidate and yes, you are the best fit model for their organization. So, this is how you should introduce yourself. Now, don't worry about the sample answer. I will add the sample answer in a PDF and I will give this PDF for free only, but in the later part of the video I will tell you how you can access that PDF, right? And always remember, your introduction should not be more than of 2 minutes. The recommended time of introduction is 1 minute and 30 second to 1 minute and 45 second, but not more than 2 minutes, right? For a fresher, this is the appropriate timeline for introducing yourself. And on that note, I want to add one more point that yesterday I was taking some mock interviews and I found that some of the students are describing their project when they are introducing themselves. So I would not recommend this approach because there are two major losses of this approach. The first is you are deviating from the topic, that clearly shows that you are not focused, and of course it is a negative impact on the interviewer. And the second is you are cutting down the total duration of the interview because you are adding all the important details related to your project in your introduction only. Right. So this is not a good approach. You should describe your project whenever they will ask. Okay, so now let's talk about the second common mistakes that usually freshers do is 90% of the time what happens is after your introduction the HR or the interviewer will ask about your project. So always add those projects or always talk about those projects that you are confident enough that yes you can handle the cross questions about them, or I would say you should talk about those projects that you really worked upon, right? Because what happens is you randomly say anything about your project, and now when the HR will ask cross questions related to your project, like what were the challenges you have faced, or what was the total duration of the project, or from where you get the data set if you have built the machine learning project. So these type of questions are really common to ask, right? So now at that time you are not able to answer, so again it is a negative impact and you should avoid this. So I would recommend always add those projects or always talk about those projects that you really worked upon, or you are really sure that yes I can handle the cross questions about the about that project, right? Now for what type of questions in project they can ask, how you can describe your project in your resume as well as during your interview. If you want a detailed discussion, I will make a separate video on that because it's a time taking discussion. So if you want, so I will make a video, let me know in the comment section. Also I want to share some key points that if you follow, so you can increase the chances of your selection. That whenever you are discussing about your project or you are describing your project, so usually what you do is you say like I build or I made a project on this, right? So rather than saying build, made, or like those type of vocabulary, you should use some technical words because you are interviewing for IT field. So technical word plays a important role in your interview, right? So rather than saying I built a project or I made a project on this, you should say I developed a project or I developed an application or I designed a web application, right? Design and develop. If your project is web development based or UI based, so you should say design, and if your project is related to core programming, so you should say develop. See, these small changes in your communication can lead a good impact on the HR mood. So there will be a high probability of your selection, right? Now, in addition to that, the third common mistakes that usually fresher do is when the HR asks you what is your favorite subject or what is your favorite programming language. So in hurry, you randomly say anything. And what happened next is when the HR will ask you any cross question related to that particular subject or related to that programming, so you are unable to respond for the particular question, so it will lead a negative impact on the interviewer because you just said this you are comfortable with this or this is your favorite, so you should have the command on it now, but now you are not responding to the basic question, so it will leave a very bad impact on the interview. So in such scenario I would recommend always say those subjects or always tell them the programming in which you are really good at, right? Suppose you are good at DBMS, but in hurry you said I am good at Java, and the next question is like what is multi-threading, and now you are not able to answer for the particular question, so this is a negative thing in an interview. See, 90% of the times interviewer will ask the questions from your resume and whatever you are saying, right? The particular question they are asking and you are answering for the particular question. So they will ask you the next question related to the previous question only. So 90% of the cases or 90% of the times the interviewer will ask the questions based upon your requirements only. So always make sure that you are saying that thing only that you are really good at, and you can easily handle the cross questions related to that subject or related to that programming. And again, a pro tip, whenever you are going for an interview, always make sure that your mind is not blank, right? Always be prepared with the top asked questions, or be prepared with the top important questions that are usually asked in an interview. And I would suggest, suppose you are preparing for Accenture, so I would suggest before starting your preparation, you should walk through some interview experiences. Doesn't matter from where you are taking the reference. On my channel, there are many interview experiences of different companies, so you can have a look here. Or else you can try on GFG. There are several interview experiences shared by different students. So always start your interview preparation by taking the interview experiences, and then pick out the questions. Okay, these are the common interviews question, and these are the mostly asked interview question, and this is a type of crucial question. So always make a list and then start your preparation. And for your all interview preparation on my channel, you will find everything. Day by day I am adding videos related to that important question. And after this video, I will give you top 50 technical interview question that you should really prepare for, that you should must prepare for these interview questions. Okay, so now let's talk about fourth common mistakes that usually fresher do is when HR asks you what are your weaknesses. So many of you just say, no, I don't have any weakness or like that, right? See, the thing is, there is no one who is perfect. Nobody is perfect. There are some flaws in everyone. But the thing is how you are dealing with your flaws, and you have to make sure that your flaws or your weaknesses are not being an obstacle in the growth of the company. You just have to make sure that due to your weakness, your company or the organization will not be in the loss. So this weakness question can be answered in this way. AIR framework we will use for it, right? The first A stands for acknowledgement. You have to acknowledge that yes, you have one or two weaknesses. Then I means impact. That means in past how this weakness impacted you or how this weakness affected you. And now what steps you are taking to overcome it. Now, relevance. R stands for relevance. You have to make sure that your weaknesses are not being any reason for the company loss. You have to make sure that your weaknesses will not be any obstacle in the success of the company or in the growth of the company, right? So this is what you this is how you can answer. And don't worry, I will add some sample answers in the same PDF I was talking about, right? Okay, so now let's talk about the fifth common mistake that usually fresher do is when in the interview HR will ask you, do you have any question for me, or if you want to ask something, you can ask like that. So what you usually do is, no sir, thank you so much, or no ma'am, thank you so much. This is a really negative thing that you are doing in your interview. See, the thing is, with the help of this question, HR wants to know your interest in the company, whether you are really interested in the company or not, right? So the particular way to answer this question is, you should ask about the company growth. You should ask about the growth opportunities in the company. You should ask about the work culture of the company, or you can ask like how they celebrate festivals, etc. But the thing is, your questions should be related to the company only, work culture, career opportunities, and other things, and what type of work life balance they are, like that, right? And what you should not ask, you should not ask about what about my performance, how was my performance, or what about my communication, like that. These questions are not recommended to ask in an interview, right? Don't worry what type of question you should ask. I will add the sample answer for this particular question as well. And now let me tell you from where you can get this PDF for free for every question. So you can find this PDF once this video will hit 500 views and 200 likes. I will add this PDF in the pinned comment. Just you have to come on the video and check for the pinned comment I will attach. And also guys, on my Instagram I have started 10 days of interview ready series. In that series I'm sharing you some amazing and important tips to use in your interview so that you can easily get hired, right? So if you want to follow me there, you can follow. The link is in the description. So yeah, that's all for today from my side. I hope the video is going to be really helpful for you and you find some insightful notes from this video. And let me know if you want the video related to the project and related to resume writing, etc. I will be making on the same. So at last, I'm just wishing you the good luck for your interview. We will meet in the next video. Till then, bye bye and take care.